I used to believe home was wherever love lived. Now I know better. Love can be a lie, but property deeds don't forge themselves. My name is Sydney, and 6 months ago, I had everything I thought mattered: a thriving interior design business, a charming colonial in the suburbs, and a husband who looked at me like I hung the moon. The house was our masterpiece. We'd saved for 5 years to afford it, and I'd transformed every inch into the kind of space that made magazine editors swoon. Babe, we need to talk. Solomon's voice carried from the kitchen one Tuesday evening. I was in my home office, finalizing designs for a client's nursery. Something in his tone made my stomach drop. I found him sitting at our marble island, head in his hands. "Mom's in trouble," he said without looking up. "She needs help, big help." "What kind of trouble?" I pulled out the stool next to him, already dreading the answer. His mother Mary had a way of creating catastrophes that only Solomon could fix. Gambling debts, bad ones. They're threatening to take her house. I inhaled sharply. "How much?" 400,000. The room started spinning. "That's impossible. She doesn't have access to that kind of money." "She took out loans, multiple loans." He finally met my eyes. "Sydney, we have to sell the house." "Our house!" My voice cracked. "You can't be serious." "It's the only way. We can move into something smaller, help Mom get back on her feet." "No." I stood up so fast the stool clattered backward. "Absolutely not. We worked too hard for this place. There has to be another solution." "There isn't." He slammed his hand on the counter. "This is my mother we're talking about. What am I supposed to do? Let her end up on the street? Let her face consequences for once in her life?" The words flew out before I could stop them. His face darkened. "You've never understood family loyalty." "Don't you dare!" I pointed at him, trembling. "I've supported every time you've bailed her out, every holiday drama, every emergency loan. But this is our home. The decision's already made." He wouldn't look at me again. "The paperwork's been filed." Ice flooded my veins. "What paperwork?" Silence. "Solomon, what paperwork?" He stood up, backing away. "I did what had to be done. You wouldn't have agreed." "You sold our house without telling me?" My voice rose to a shriek. "I'm on that deed. You need my signature." "I handled it." 3 words. 3 words that shattered everything. I ran to my office, tearing through our filing cabinet until I found the sale documents. There was my signature, perfect and precise, and completely forged. When I returned to the kitchen, Mary was there. I hadn't even heard her come in. She was perched on my favorite bar stool, wearing a new Gucci bag that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. "Sydney, darling." Her smile was saccharine. "Solomon told you our wonderful news? You're such an angel to help family in need. We'll find you something cozy to downsize to." I looked between them. My husband's guilty face. His mother's smug one. Through the window, I could see our garden, where we'd planned to build a nursery someday. The custom kitchen, where I baked Christmas cookies for the whole neighborhood. The reading nook, where I'd curled up with coffee every morning, watching the sunrise paint our walls gold. "When do we have to be out?" My voice was eerily calm. 30 days, Solomon mumbled. Mary clapped her hands. "But don't worry. I've found the most darling little apartment complex. 2-bedroom, very affordable." I nodded slowly, already feeling something crystallize inside me. They thought they knew me. Sweet, accommodating Sydney. Always understanding, always forgiving. They had no idea what they'd just created. "I need some air," I said quietly, grabbing my keys. Neither tried to stop me as I walked out. In my car, I pulled out my phone and called my friend Anika, a financial advisor I trusted. "Hey, I need a favor. How much do you know about fraud investigation?" The game they'd started? I was about to change all the rules. "You're going to want to sit down for this," Anika said, spreading documents across her desk. 2 weeks had passed since Solomon's bombshell, and I'd spent every moment playing the dutiful, defeated wife while Annika dug through our finances. "How bad?" I asked, sinking into her office chair. She pushed her glasses up, frowning. Remember that joint investment account you opened 3 years ago? The one for your future kids' college fund? My stomach clenched. What about it? Empty. Every penny transferred to an account in Mary's name over the last 8 months. The room tilted. That's not possible. Solomon would never. There's more. Annika slid another paper forward. Your business account? He's been skimming from it too. Small amounts, probably hoping you wouldn't notice during tax season. I grabbed the trash can just in time to throw up. Sydney? Annika's hand was on my back. Should I call someone? No. I wiped my mouth, straightening. Show me everything. By the time I got home, Mary had moved into our guest room. Just temporarily, Solomon assured me, carrying in her fourth Louis Vuitton suitcase. Until we find a new place. Of course. I smiled sweetly, thinking of the documents in my bag. Family first, right? Mary appeared in the doorway, wearing silk pajamas that still had tags on them. Sydney, dear, I noticed you're still using that awful generic hand soap in the guest bathroom. I simply can't use anything but L'Occitane. I'll pick some up tomorrow. My cheeks ached from fake smiling. That night, I lay awake listening to them in the kitchen. Mary's theatrical sighs, Solomon's soothing murmurs. She's being so cold, Mary sniffled, after everything we've done for her. Mom, please, she's processing. Processing? I'm the one suffering. Those horrible loan sharks, threatening a defenseless woman. I slipped out of bed and crept closer to listen. The house sale will cover everything, Solomon assured her. And that investment tip you got? It'll triple your money in months. If you say so, baby. I just wish Sydney understood that family sacrifices together. I bit back a laugh. Sacrifice? I'd seen the casino receipts in her purse while helping unpack. 20,000 in one night, 30,000 the next. My phone buzzed. A text from Hadley, my other closest friend. Coffee tomorrow? Important. We met at our usual spot. Hadley looked nervous, shredding a napkin. There's something you should know about Solomon and Mary. What about them? Last month, at Tony's bar, I saw them meeting with some guy. Real sketchy type. They were talking about property transfers, offshore accounts. I reached for her hand. Tell me everything. That afternoon, I called Jamie, my realtor friend. Remember that client we discussed? The one interested in buying back their house? The LLC paperwork just cleared, she said. Ready when you are? I hung up smiling. In the kitchen, Mary was ordering delivery on my credit card, while Solomon worked late. Again. Sydney! She waved me over. I've been thinking, once we're settled in the new place, you should let me redecorate. Your taste is so safe. I watched her swipe my card for $100 sushi order. Actually, Mary, I've been meaning to ask. How's that Vegas investment going? She froze momentarily. Oh, wonderfully. The returns are just… Well, you wouldn't understand the technical details. Try me. It's very complex. Solomon handles everything. She turned away, but not before I caught her tell, the slight twitch in her left eye. That night, I added another document to my growing file. Screenshots of Mary's social media, showing her gambling away thousands while crying poverty. Every lie, every manipulation, carefully cataloged. My phone buzzed again. Solomon. Working late, don't wait up. I texted back. No problem, taking care of your mom. Family first. Then I forwarded everything to my lawyer, adding one line. Time to move forward with phase 2. They thought they were playing chess, but I was about to flip the whole board. Let's revisit your feelings about loyalty, Ibrahim said, leaning back in his therapist's chair. I'd been seeing him for years, but today was different. Today, I wasn't here to heal. I used to think loyalty meant sacrifice, I replied, carefully selecting my words. Now I realize it's about reciprocation. What changed? I pulled out my old therapy journal. Remember when you had me document patterns in my marriage? I found something interesting. The pages told a story. Every major milestone Solomon and I had planned, starting a family, expanding my business, buying investment property, derailed by Mary's emergencies. Ibrahim adjusted his glasses. What do you see now that you didn't before? It wasn't random. It was orchestrated. I closed the journal. They waited until I was most vulnerable, then struck. After therapy, I met Jamie at a coffee shop 3 towns over. No chances of running into familiar faces. The shell company is solid, she said, sliding a folder across the table. Your LLC now owns the house, through a series of completely legal transactions. Solomon and Mary won't find the connection unless they hire a forensic accountant. Which they won't, I smiled, because that would mean examining their own paper trail. My phone buzzed. Mary needed my credit card for essential household items. Again. At home, I found shopping bags scattered across the living room. Mary was modeling a new cashmere sweater for Solomon. Look what I found on sale, she cooed. Only $600. Solomon beamed. You deserve it, Mom, after everything you've been through. Everything she's been through? I couldn't help myself. Like what, exactly? The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Sydney, Solomon warned. No, I'm curious. What terrible hardship requires a $600 sweater? Mary's eyes welled with practiced tears. Solomon, she's attacking me again, after I've lost everything. Lost everything? I laughed. Is that what we're calling it? That's enough. Solomon stepped between us. Mom, go lie down. Sydney, kitchen, now. In the kitchen, he gripped the counter until his knuckles went white. What is wrong with you? Funny, I was about to ask the same thing. I pulled out my phone, showing him a photo Tegan had sent me. Mary at the casino just yesterday, stacks of chips in front of her. She's sick, he said weakly. She needs help. She needs consequences, and so do you. His face changed, something ugly surfacing. Is that a threat? Just an observation. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, by the way, I canceled my credit cards. All of them. The explosion came at dinner. Mary discovered her online shopping spree had been declined. But I needed those things, she wailed. Solomon, tell her she's being cruel. Sydney, he started, using his reasonable voice. Mom's still fragile. Fragile? I stood up. Let's talk about fragile. Let's talk about how she lost our house gambling, then bought a Gucci bag. Let's talk about how you forged my signature. I did what I had to do, he shouted. You never understood. Oh, I understand perfectly. I grabbed my purse. I understand that you two deserve each other. As I headed for the door, I heard Mary stage whisper to Solomon. Finally, we got rid of the girl who controlled you. Now we can be a real family again. I smiled all the way to my car. Perfect. Another recording for my collection. That night, I stayed at Hadley's, the only friend I still trusted. She poured wine while I checked my emails. Jamie had confirmed. The house transfer was complete. Solomon and Mary had no idea they were now technically my tenants. Are you sure about this? Hadley asked. Once you start, there's no going back. I thought about Mary's smug smile, Solomon's betrayal, years of manipulation wrapped in family loyalty. They took everything I built, I said quietly. Now I'm taking it back. With interest. My phone lit up, Solomon calling again. I declined, sending a quick text instead. Taking time to process, need space. Let them think I was breaking down. Let them celebrate their victory. The real game was just beginning. You'll never believe what I just saw. Tegan's voice crackled through my phone. My nosy neighbor had become an unwitting intelligence asset. Solomon was having lunch with Annika at Tony's. They looked close. My hand tightened on the phone. Define close. Like sharing dessert and whispering close. Sydney, I'm so sorry. Don't be. I kept my voice steady. Thank you for telling me. I hung up and stared at my reflection in the coffee shop window. 3 weeks of playing broken had paid off. Everyone thought I was too devastated to notice what was happening around me. Time to test a theory. I called Anika, keeping my voice fragile. Can we meet? I'm struggling with everything. Of course. Too bright, too eager. Your usual coffee spot? Actually, I paused deliberately. Could you come to the house? I don't feel like being in public. Oh, hesitation. Guilt. Sure, give me an hour? When she arrived, I was curled up on the couch in sweats, tissues strategically scattered around. Mary was at her doctor's appointment, code for the casino. You look terrible, Annika said, sitting beside me. I feel terrible. I sniffled. Solomon's been so distant. I think he might be seeing someone else. Her face twitched. Barely noticeable, but there it was. That's ridiculous, she said quickly. He's just stressed about Mary. Really? I pulled out my phone. Because Tegan saw you two at Tony's today. Color drained from her face. Sydney, it's not what you think. What should I think? My financial advisor having secret lunches with my husband? He needed advice about Mary's situation. She stood up, pacing. The gambling debts, the loans, he's trying to protect you. I laughed hollowly. Protect me? By draining our accounts? He had no choice. Mary threatened to… She stopped abruptly. Threatened what, Anika? She sank back down. I shouldn't say anything else. How long? What? How long have you been helping him hide money? Tears filled her eyes. Sydney, please. I never meant… I thought if I helped him, maybe he'd finally notice you. The pieces clicked. How pathetic. I love him, she burst out. I've loved him for years. You never appreciated… Get out. My voice could have frozen hell. And Annika? Check your phone. She pulled it out, face paling as she saw the recording notification. That's right, I smiled. I just recorded you admitting to financial fraud. Still want to play this game? She fled, nearly knocking over Solomon in the doorway. He watched her run to her car, then turned to me. What did you do? Funny, I was about to ask you the same thing. I held up my phone. Want to hear the recording? Sydney, save it. I know everything. The accounts, the fraud, how you and Mary played me for years. I stood up. But here's what you don't know. I'm not the same woman you married. His face darkened. What's that supposed to mean? You'll find out soon enough. I grabbed my keys. Oh, and Solomon? Tell your mother her favorite casino called. Apparently, she's been banned for counting cards. I left him standing there, mouth open. In my car, I called Jamie. Say everything's ready, she said. The ownership transfer is complete. They'll never trace it back to you. Perfect. And the other thing? Your new place is gorgeous. Top floor, killer view, keys whenever you want them. I drove to Hadley's, the only friend who'd proven loyal. She opened the door before I could knock. Annika just called me crying, she said. What happened? I showed her the recording. One less snake in the grass. Damn, she whistled. You're really doing this, aren't you? They thought they could break me. I pulled out my laptop, checking the final paperwork. Everything was in place. Instead, they gave me clarity. My phone buzzed. Solomon again. I ignored it, smiling as I signed the last document. The house was officially mine. They just didn't know it yet. I'm so sorry, Sydney, Solomon whispered, holding me as I pretended to cry. We'll get through this. Maybe we could start over somewhere new. I buried my face in his chest, hiding my smile. You really mean that? Of course. He stroked my hair. Mom found this amazing investment opportunity in Vegas. If it pays off, we could buy an even better house. Vegas? I pulled back, eyes wide and innocent. That sounds wonderful. You and Mary should go check it out. He blinked. You want us to go? I think it would be good for everyone. I wiped my fake tears. You two can investigate the opportunity, and I can process everything here. Are you sure? His voice was hopeful. Too hopeful. Positive. I just need some time to accept our new reality. Mary practically teleported into the room. Did I hear Vegas? 2 days later, I watched their cab pull away. They'd be gone for 5 days, more than enough time. The moment they were out of sight, I called Jamie. They're gone! Send the locksmith! While the locks were being changed, I got to work. Every trace of Mary had to go. Her tacky decorations, her hoarded shopping bags, the cigarette burns she'd left on my antique table. Need help? Hadley appeared with coffee and cleaning supplies. Start upstairs? I handed her garbage bags. Everything of Mary's goes in the trash. We worked for hours. I replaced every photo of Solomon with abstract art, rearranged furniture, and transformed my home office into a meditation room. The house slowly became mine again, only better. Found this in Mary's room, Hadley called down. She held up a stack of papers. My hands shook as I read them. Bank statements, casino markers, loan applications, all showing worse debt than we'd known. They hadn't just stolen my house. They'd stolen my future. Sydney? Hadley touched my arm. You okay? Perfect. I added the papers to my evidence file. Just more proof I'm doing the right thing. By day 3, the house was unrecognizable. Clean, minimal, peaceful. I'd even hired painters to cover Mary's beloved burgundy walls with crisp white. My phone buzzed constantly. Solomon. Miss you. Mom's having amazing luck at the tables. Mary. The slots are calling my name. This could change everything. I replied with heart emojis and encouraging words. Let them dig their hole deeper. On day 4, I placed the final touches. A new security system, cameras at every entrance, and my piece de resistance, a letter perfectly centered on the front door. Welcome to the new reality you've gambled with. P.S. I wouldn't bother trying your keys. You're really doing this? Hadley asked, watching me pin the note. They're about to learn something important. I stepped back, admiring my work. Never underestimate a woman with nothing left to lose. That night, I moved the last of my essential belongings to my new apartment. The view was spectacular, all glittering city lights and possibility. My phone lit up. Solomon. Hey baby, slight change of plans. Mom's on a hot streak, so we're staying 2 extra days. You don't mind, right? Of course not, I forced cheer into my voice. Stay as long as you need. I'm keeping busy redecorating. Redecorating? Sudden sharpness in his tone. What do you mean? Oh, you know, just moving some furniture, painting a little, making it feel like home again. Sydney, warning in his voice now, don't do anything stupid. Stupid? I laughed softly. No, Solomon. Stupid was forging my signature. Stupid was stealing my money. Stupid was thinking I'd just roll over and take it. What are you? Enjoy Vegas. I hung up, blocking his number. Within minutes, my phone exploded with calls from Mary's phone, their hotel, even Annika. I blocked them all. Standing at my new window, I watched the sunset on my old life. Tomorrow, they'd return to find themselves locked out of my house, literally and figuratively. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Jamie. All systems go. They won't know what hit them. I smiled, raising a glass to my reflection. Here's to karma, I whispered. May she be as brutal as she is patient. The security camera feed on my laptop showed Solomon and Mary pulling up in their taxi. I turned up the volume, sipping my coffee in my new apartment as the show began. What the hell? Solomon tried his key. Once, twice. Sydney, open the door. Mary wobbled on her designer heels. The lock must be stuck. Try harder, baby. It's not stuck. He finally noticed the letter. His face turned purple as he read it. What? What does it say? Mary snatched the paper, her shrill voice carrying through the camera's microphone. That little witch! How dare she? Solomon pounded on the door. Sydney, I know you're in there. Neighbors started peeking out their windows. Tegan appeared on her porch, phone obviously recording. Call a locksmith, Mary demanded. They can't help, I texted Solomon. The house isn't yours anymore. His phone dinged. I watched him read the message, face draining of color. What? What did she say? Mary grabbed his phone. What does she mean, not ours? Solomon called me. I let it ring. Check your email, I texted instead. I'd sent the full documentation, proof of their fraud, bank statements showing their theft, casino receipts, and finally, the property deed in my LLC's name. This is impossible, he whispered, but I could see his hands shaking. Mary read over his shoulder, her face contorting. She can't do this. We sold the house. To a shell company, I texted. My shell company. Solomon slumped against the door. Oh, God! Call the police, Mary shrieked. She stole our house. Mom, stop! No, I won't let her get away with this. Mary pulled out her phone, dialing 911. Hello? Yes, I need to report a theft. That woman stole our house. 20 minutes later, 2 police officers arrived. I watched through the cameras as Solomon tried explaining the situation. So, the female officer said slowly, you sold the house legally, but you don't like who bought it? No, Mary interrupted. She tricked us. She forged documents. Like you did? I texted Solomon. Should we show them who really committed fraud? He stared at his phone, face ashen. Mom, stop, please. But baby, Mrs. Harris, the male officer cut in. Filing a false police report is a crime. Do you want to continue with this complaint? Mary's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Solomon grabbed her arm. No, officer, we're sorry for wasting your time. After the police left, Solomon tried one last time. Sydney, please, we can talk about this. I switched to the video call function. His phone rang. Answer it, I texted. Let's talk face to face. His hands trembled as he accepted the call. I let him see my new apartment, the skyline behind me. Like what you've done with the place, he attempted weakly. I do. It's amazing what you can afford when people aren't stealing from you. Mary shoved her face into frame. You ungrateful little... Careful, I cut her off. I have enough evidence to send you both to prison. Want to push me? Solomon pushed his mother back. Sydney, I love you. We can fix this. Fix what? The money you stole? The trust you destroyed? Or maybe the years I wasted believing family meant something to you? Please. He was crying now. Real tears. Where am I supposed to go? I smiled. Funny. That's exactly what you were willing to do to me. I'll make it right. You already did. By showing me exactly who you are. I leaned closer to the camera. Now get off my property before I call the police for trespassing. You heard her! Tegan yelled from her porch. Get going! Some of us record everything for our social media. I watched them leave, Mary wailing dramatically, Solomon looking back one last time at the house he'd gambled away. My phone buzzed. A text from Hadley. Just saw them leave. You okay? Better than okay, I replied. I'm free. I closed my laptop, silencing their desperate calls and messages. Let them scramble. Let them panic. I had a new life to furnish, and their tears weren't part of the decor. The courthouse steps felt like a stage, and I was dressed for the part in a crisp white suit. Mary's false police report had backfired spectacularly, landing us all in front of a judge. All rise, the bailiff called. I stood, watching Solomon and Mary shuffle in. They looked terrible, his suit wrinkled, her makeup smeared. 2 weeks of hotel living hadn't been kind to either of them. Your Honor, their lawyer began, my clients simply want to return to their home. Which they legally sold, my lawyer interrupted, sliding forward a thick folder. To my client's company, through proper channels. We have all documentation here. The judge peered over his glasses. Mrs. Harris, the elder Mrs. Harris, you claim fraud? Mary jumped up. She tricked us. She's trying to destroy our family. By purchasing property through legal means? The judge's voice dripped sarcasm. Please explain how that constitutes fraud. She, Mary sputtered. Perhaps, my lawyer suggested smoothly. We should discuss the actual fraud committed. Specifically, the forged signatures on the original sale documents. Solomon's head snapped up. Mary went pale. I have here, my lawyer continued, evidence of multiple financial crimes committed by the defendants. Would the court like to review them? No! Solomon stood up. Your Honor, we withdraw our complaint. The judge wasn't finished. Mr. Harris, are you aware that filing false police reports wastes valuable public resources? Yes, Your Honor, we apologize. Case dismissed. The gavel cracked like thunder. And Mrs. Harris, the elder, I strongly suggest you avoid filing any more false reports. Outside, Solomon caught up to me. Sidney, wait! I turned, enjoying how he flinched at my expression. You've won, okay? He spread his hands. You got the house. What more do you want? Want? I laughed. I want you to understand something. This was never about the house. Mary tottered up in her worn designer heels. Then what was it about, you vindictive? It was about consequences, I cut her off. Something you've spent a lifetime avoiding. We're sleeping in a motel, she shrieked. Isn't that consequence enough? Actually, I smiled, I'm selling the house. They both froze. What? Solomon whispered. Already have a buyer. They're paying well above market value. I adjusted my bag. Apparently, my renovations really increased the property value. You can't. Can't what? Sell my property? Funny how ownership works, isn't it? Mary lunged forward, but Solomon held her back. Where are we supposed to go? The same place you were sending me, nowhere. I stepped closer. You know what really hurts, Solomon? Not losing the house. Losing you, because I finally see who you always were. I did it for family, he pleaded. No, you did it for her. And now you get to keep her, and only her. I'll change. He grabbed my hand. We can start over. I yanked away. You already did start over, without me. How's that working out? Mary began her usual wailing, but a court officer approached. Ma'am, you need to leave the premises. As they were escorted away, I heard Mary's last desperate shot. We'll get another lawyer. We'll fight this. Good luck, I called after them. The casino's still looking for their money, by the way. Might want to handle that first. Hadley appeared at my side. You okay? Never better. I watched them disappear into the crowd. Ready for lunch? At the restaurant, my phone buzzed with a text from Jamie. Buyers signed the final papers. You just made a 40% profit. I showed Hadley the message. Not bad for a month's work. What now? Now? I sipped my champagne. I invest in my business, my future, and myself. Everything they tried to steal. And them? As if on cue, my phone lit up with a news alert. Local casino files lawsuit against gambling addict and son for unpaid debts. I turned the phone to show Hadley. Karma's right on schedule. You're scary sometimes, she said, but she was smiling. No, I corrected her. I'm just finally awake. Outside, the city sparkled with possibility. My new apartment waited above it all, and my business was booming with clients who'd heard about my dramatic home renovation. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just surviving, it's thriving. And I was just getting started. My morning routine never changes. Coffee on the balcony, watching sunrise paint the city gold. Today's view included a moving truck outside my old house, the new owners finally arriving. My phone buzzed. A text from Tegan. OMG, check your email now. The subject line made me smile. Local Realtor wins Design Innovation Award. Below was a photo of my old house's transformation, featured in Architectural Digest. The article praised the Phoenix-like renovation and bold design choices that turned family trauma into triumph. Congratulations! Jamie appeared at my office door, holding champagne. I knew that house would make you famous. The house didn't make me famous, I corrected her. The story did. Speaking of stories, she handed me a newspaper. Solomon's bankruptcy filing made the local business section. Mary's name was listed as a co-defendant in 3 casino lawsuits. Karma's been busy, I mused. Sydney? My assistant poked her head in. Your next client's here, and you might want to see who it is. In my waiting room sat Mary's former best friend, Rita. Her hands twisted nervously. I need your help, she blurted. After what happened to Mary, I realized I've been enabling my son the same way. I don't want to end up like her. I sat across from her. Tell me everything. As she talked, I thought about patterns, how they repeat until someone breaks them. Mary had created a cycle of destruction. I'd created something else. My phone lit up with a text from Hadley. Lunch? Got tea to spill. At our usual spot, she could barely contain herself. Guess who I saw at the dollar store? Mary, in knockoff shoes. She was applying for a cashier job. And Solomon? Moved to Nevada. Apparently, he's working as a parking valet. At the same casino they owe money to. I stirred my coffee. Good. You don't sound surprised. Because I'm not. I showed her my phone, an email from my private investigator. I've been keeping tabs, making sure they can't rebuild their little empire. Ruthless, she grinned. I love it. Back at my office, Jamie was waiting again. Got a minute? For my favorite realtor? Always. I was thinking. She sat on my desk edge. That renovation was incredible. We could do more projects like that. Partner up, maybe? I looked at her. Really looked at her. Beyond the business proposal in her eyes, I saw something else. Something new. Are you asking me professionally or personally? She smiled. Can't it be both? Before I could answer, my assistant rushed in. Sorry to interrupt, but you need to see this. She pulled up a video on her phone. Solomon being escorted out of the casino in handcuffs. Apparently, he'd tried skimming from the valet tickets. Like mother, like son, Jamie commented. I closed the video. Their story's over. Time for new chapters. Speaking of new chapters, Jamie touched my hand. Dinner tonight? Yes, I said, surprising myself with how right it felt. Definitely yes. That evening, I sat at my desk one last time, opening my journal. The final entry needed to be perfect. The house was never the dream. I was. And now I'm awake. I closed the journal and looked around my office. At the award nomination, the growing client list, the future I'd built from the ashes of betrayal. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I'm sorry for everything. S. I deleted it without responding. Some chapters need to stay closed. Jamie appeared in my doorway, dressed for dinner. Ready? I grabbed my bag, taking one last look at the city skyline. Somewhere out there, Mary was learning to live without designer labels, and Solomon was learning that karma takes payment in full. But here, in this moment, I was learning something too. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just surviving, or even thriving. It's becoming exactly who they never thought you could be. Ready, I said, taking Jamie's hand. Let's write something new. Behind us, the sun set on my old life, and I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I had already won,